Hey everybody, I wanted to follow up with something that could be a solution to our little Harley problem. This is not a new phenomenon. The DEI and the wokeness that has been forced on everybody is being forced on a global level. And here, especially in the States, you'll see all the businesses that are in any which way in business with the Vanguard, the BlackRock, the State Streets, a lot of the financial institutions that own the financial institutions that do business with your company. You see industry plants in all of these big major businesses, like York from Harley Davidson. He is just another one of the industry plants that have been put in leadership in businesses all throughout America and Europe, specifically with this agenda, the new green agenda. This is a world problem. This is a big world problem. This is a Western world problem that will eventually, if they are successful, it will reduce the population number because they will eventually start making less and less food, and the food that will be available will be less and less healthy for us. That is another part of their agenda. They will destroy the energy production, the fossil fuels, and you know, if you have any of the green lunatics who wants to make it a cleaner, better world by getting rid of fossil fuels, if they're not willing to entertain nuclear power, you know they're not serious. And most of the ones you see protest and glue themselves to the roads in Europe, they simply are being used by the ones who are really pulling the strings. That is the bigger problem. I'll break that down for you in a different thing. Let's stick to Harley Davidson and what we can do. Why this hit us so hard is because we are patriotic Americans. We love America, and Harley Davidson has always been synonymous with patriotism, with America, Americana. It is a heritage company. And those of us who ride, we are, for the most part, patriotic Americans who love this country and love the freedom. The very idea of riding a motorcycle down the street is the freedom. And freedom, Harley Davidson, that's what we want. We don't want one thing is we don't really like a lot of rules is one thing. We want to be out there and be free, and you can't hear your phone ring when you're on your bike, and that's just awesome. That's why we need the gasoline engine to drown out all those background noises. You know, the background noise like when politicians talk. Problem with this is Harley Davidson is a publicly traded company. We start boycotting Harley Davidson, which I sadly have to say, looking at one of the big flagship stores here, and I know a lot of people who work there, and I genuinely like a lot of these guys, and I love the guys who have many of these stores because they're not part of this. This is being forced on them from up high. They will go out of business. They will produce less and less motorcycles in America. They will drift away from the American market as we boycott them because they are destroying our way of life. And when I say destroying our way of life, they are supporting agendas where male transvestites get to wave their sausages in the face of kids. And when you start pushing sexual agendas on children, you lose me and you lose most normal people. And this has nothing to do with being supportive of people being gay or having a different sexuality. I am all in favor, as long as you're consensual adults, I don't care what you do. Most of us probably don't give a damn. I have gay friends that ride, no problem. But when you start involving agendas, involving children, you don't only you make enemies, because that is sick. And this is part of the sick agenda that you are promoting. There's something really fundamentally wrong with this global from on high push to completely reorganize your great reset of destroying everything that we know as a sensible culture. That's one thing. They set us all against each other, and the media is complicit in that, and they've been for decades now. What do we do about it? We boycott Harley Davidson. We stop buying Harleys. Everybody already has a bike. They have a bike. Fine. Harley will eventually, it will not hurt, since some 75% of Harley Davidson's shares are owned by some of these big money-making businesses. These big bankers, the big companies, these are all industry. If they lose a couple of billion here and there, it doesn't matter to them. BlackRock has plenty of money. Their agenda is more important to them, which came out last year to their CEOs. Their CEOs are being rewarded, important, being rewarded for their push in DEI And the DEI push is more important than the profit margin for the company. Which means if you're a mom and dad who have shares in Harley Davidson, you are no longer important. The DEI push is important, and they know, like look at Bud Light, they lost money. But it's not important to them. The CEO will get a bonus based on how DEI, what its DEI score is, the diversity, and the equity, inclusion, which means you hire people based on their sexuality or their genetics or their skin color, basically. You don't hire them based on their qualifications. By the way, see United having problems? They have problems. Their planes are falling down. Bits and pieces are falling their planes, just like Boeing. Why? Why did that all start a couple of years ago? They implemented DEI a couple of years ago. Look at the medical schools. We have real serious problems that are coming our way because these companies are forcing DEI. They are no longer hiring qualified people. Look at law enforcement, look at the military. They're hiring people based on their sexual agenda and their skin color, not the quality, not their selves, not who they are, and not their knowledge. You're getting rid of the people who know things because they don't want to be part of this. That is going to be, down the line, a serious problem. But we boycott Harley Davidson, we stop buying their bikes, a bunch of financial brokers go lose a little bit of money here and there. Maybe they get rid of the schmucko sites, maybe he goes bye-bye, the whole board goes bye-bye, and they all need to go bye-bye, out. However, is that going to stop the agenda? Are we going to get real red-blooded Americans running the company according to American values? That would be good if it's not just a fake facelift in order to save money a little bit and get us back on their good side, like Bud Light did and so many others. Many more companies, many people and companies you do business with every day are in bed with this. You just haven't looked up. Have you looked up your bank's DEI page? Your phone companies? This is much bigger than just this. However, Seitz is going to get another job somewhere else. He is one of them. He is one of the Davos crowd that seeks to put in industry managers who are all in favor of the new global agenda of no beef, no veal, less food production, synthetic food production. Thank you, Mr. Bill Gates. I don't want lab-grown fake beef. Thank you. Especially not living here in America where they put so much poison in our food to begin with. So what's going to happen to Harley Davidson if we boycott it? We could ruin the company. The company could go belly up. It could go away. And then, okay, then maybe a couple of real Americans are going to pick up the brand, buy the name from the defunct Harley Davidson, as it could be, and start from scratch building real Harley Davidsons, American motorcycles again. That could be. Maybe the company will close eventually. If we all boycott them long enough, they'll lose enough money. They don't care about the money. We're not going to hurt them. We're not going to hurt them personally. We're not going to hurt them financially because they move on to something else. So, that being said, let them move on to something else that doesn't affect us. That would be a good start. The company could then close and somebody else could open it up and regurgitate, sorry, that's the wrong term to use. Revive the brand. That's one thing. But what are we going to do? We all ride Harleys. I got 2.5 Harleys sitting in the garage and a bunch of other things, and they're old Harleys. So that's what we're going to do. That is what we could do. We could stop buying Harley Davidsons from the dealerships. And I hate saying that because, like I said, I know a lot of the dealerships. But the dealerships need to put pressure on the company, saying we're not going to do business with you anymore because you are ruining our business. And if all the businesses eventually get together, this is about putting a united front, united pressure, and it has to start from the bottom. Everything we want to change to salvage the Western world, the civilized world, our way of life, is not going to come from above. No savior is going to come into office and save us. We have to do it from the bottom by starting to make a stand. Say, I'm not going to buy your crap until you get on board with some common sense politics and love of country and tradition and value life. Okay, that will then initially affect the dealers. The dealers will then put pressure on the company, and eventually maybe the company will change, or everything will go out of business, and Mr. Harley Davidson can start all over again from scratch. That will be very, very sad. But since Harley Davidson is already shipping jobs out of the country, this is where it's going to go anyway. However, pressure could save Harley Davidson from doing this. The shareholders needs to get together and get rid of the board, the CEO, and try to reverse course for the company and do it very public, and they better do it fast. And it can't be a cosmetic change because people are not that stupid anymore. That is the only danger to the lying press, the media, the politicians. Well, we know we can't trust anybody anymore, but we still have communication. We still can communicate with each other, and we can still get the word out about what is actually going on. So you can't hide everything from everybody, so it can't be a cosmetic change. What are we going to do in the meantime of doing all this, you now ask? I want a new motorcycle. Well, you can build it. I built Harleys without buying any parts from Harley. There's enough aftermarket bikes and bike parts that you can put that together for very low cost, actually. You see, my bike is nothing on that. That bike left a Harley Davidson dealership in '93, and short of maybe picking up a battery and a couple of nuts and bolts, maybe a bits and pieces here and there, that bike is not a profitable bike for Harley Davidson, also because it doesn't break down ever. So I don't need anything. It's so old that Harley Davidson won't even fix it anyway. So now we're on to the solution of the problem. You go mom and pop shops. The small, individually owned businesses, that is the solution we can implement. That is what you can do in your own community. Whether it's groceries or it's a local baker, whatever it is, go local. Find your local bike shop. He's got 10 used bikes for sale. Buy one of them. And when it needs fixing, go to him. He will fix it. Like here, my buddy here's been at this shop probably practically 20, 30 years. There's a local motorcycle shop or motorcycle bike store in probably plenty of them in your town. Buy a used bike from a private person. There's tons and tons and tons of used Harley Davidsons out there. You're not going to run out. You don't need to buy a new bike. My buddy bought a couple of years ago, like 5 years ago, bought a new CVO, cost him $55,000 with everything in it. Hardly ever rides it, and now because of all this, it's not really worth much anymore. Harley Davidson is dropping the value of their used high-end bikes. It's a water-cooled. Who wants a water-cooled motorcycle? I have an Evo engine has never ever let me down. If it does, I can fix it with duct tape. You're bikers, you know how this works. Simplify. When I did commercials for Harley Davidson, their marketing department was very nice and very friendly. A couple of nice ladies, and they had never ridden, they didn't ride, they had never seen any of the motorcycle culture inspired movies, and they didn't understand the culture. I tried then to explain to them who riders are, who their target audience is. And they had, for God's sakes, Harley Davidson had the promoter, the marketing company from Apple some years ago. You saw those clinical Harley Davidson, they have no idea. The board never rode a motorcycle in their life. These dweebs, they hate you. They don't give a damn about you. They have no problem destroying the company and rebuilding it into some future electrical company if it's on the cost of all of you who's been riding and loyally loving the brand for what it stands for all these decades. They don't care about you anymore. We are them, and they are their own self-imposed top of the crop. Now it's them and us. So we need to go small, go local, buy used bikes, have them refitted, rebuilt. And why wouldn't you? You can buy a Softail for $3,000, $4,000, take it to a shop like here or any other shop in your local neighborhood. I'm not advertising. You bring up. I'm not gonna. I don't fix bikes. Actually have other stuff to do. But people, this is not a commercial for that by any means. Don't get me wrong. Get a used motorcycle. You can get a used Softail. Softail's an awesome bike, even a starter bike, $5,000, $6,000. Take it to a place, have it customized, done up a little bit, your color, have it maybe painted, new badges. Do whatever you want. It doesn't make money for Harley Davidson. You don't have to go to Harley to buy a single thing. And I'm done buying t-shirts as Harley Davidson. I'm not buying anything ever again from Harley until the U-turn, hard, handbrake, the other way, patriotism, Americana. If they don't, I don't need t-shirts that say Harley Davidson. I don't need any of that. I'm not supporting that. I don't drink Bud Light. It's not really a very good beer to begin with, but I'm not on board with this. And I'm not going to put my money to support any of this. Whether it's a phone company, it's the grocery store, whatever it is, if I can avoid it, go local. Go to the local bike shop. Go small. If you want to rebuild it, you don't need to go to Harley for that. You don't need a new bike. And this is, all right, I'm a little pragmatic. I like to buy things outright, own them, not pay them off, and not go into debt for something that's stupidly expensive. You can, if you want to spend what the equivalency of a new bike, 30, 40,000 for something with everything, find a model that's a couple of years older, that's reliable, that's nicely driven in. Take it down, spend an extra 10 grand at your local custom bike shop and have it made yours. You money, the same money out the door. And why would you want to finance a motorcycle? I mean, ever. You don't want to finance a motorcycle. You don't need a new bike that bad. Get a cool bike. That's the thing Harley forgot. The cool. The new bikes aren't really cool anymore. They're kind of and they can't really compete on the merit with new bikes from other companies. They ride quite well. They're quite good. But I was trying to explain that to the nice ladies from the marketing department when they were, what was the Pan American I did the commercial for last time, and there's an ungodly amount of buttons and things on that bike, I remember, and they were asking me, what do you think of the bike? I'm like, there's too much crap. I have one button on both of my bikes. It turns it on and off. What else do I need? And they're not thinking through the designs. It's the same thing with gym equipment. Gym equipment 20, 30 years ago was made by athletes. And then gym business became big business and then brought in designers, and now the gym equipment is no longer fit for people who work out because it looks cool and streamlined and have all these features, but it no longer has the right angle. It doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work as well. It doesn't bend the right way anymore. And we can't just go for cosmetic. That's what I'm saying. Get your own bike. Get your own bike built for you. Have your own custom Harley that's a couple years older. It's going to be more reliable. There's plenty of fat boys out there. There's plenty of Softails out there. And there's, well, some of the old ones, the good ones, they stopped building them at Harley anyway. But that is what you can do. Go small, go local, go used, go to your local bike shop, or just, you know what, tell your local bike mechanic, there's got to be a real good bike place. Tell them, build you a motorcycle for 20 grand. If you want to spend 20 grand on Harley Davidson anyway, build a custom motorcycle for 20 grand. You can do that. This is not 20 years ago when a custom motorcycle was only built by TV shows. This is, they're cheaper now. Don't be scared of having something made for you, the way you want it. Hey, stop honking at me. Who are you? And speaking of who are you, one of the things that really bothers me about this is I work in the film business. I'm also in the military reserve still. I was in pre-production with a movie where Harley Davidson was the key feature of the movie. About a millennial dad who's all of a sudden discovers, an old biker, military veteran, discovers he has a teenage daughter. And the opposites meet, and his name was Harley. And the whole thing was centered around Harley Davidson. And then this breaks. So now we had to pull that and do something completely different because Harley screwed up. And I don't think they're quite capable of the thought that they need to unscrew themselves, because that would mean they would care about the money. And they don't, because it's not their money. They would care about the brand. It's not their brand. They're not bikers. They would care about their Americana. Well, the CEO is not American, so he don't care. This is about a globalist agenda that's coming from somewhere else and is being forced on us. And the only thing we can do to fight back at this point is small, local, support your local business, your mom and pops, local bakery, deli, grocery store, farmers. Farmers, listen to your farmers. When your farmers start complaining, you have a big problem. Holland. Anyway, I'm going to do more videos. We can do some interviews. I'm going to try to break down a little bit more about what this whole thing is actually about. But for Harley Davidson, I'm still mad as hell at what they did to something I truly loved and advertised for and was ready to do a movie about. Damn. Thanks, Starbucks. You screwed up my life and my movie. I'm kidding. Anyway, be safe out there. And just in case you actually thought some of these companies had redeemed themselves like Budweiser, Budweiser and Harley-Davidson teamed up to do a commercial. One formerly woke with a new woke, they're all woke. They haven't changed their agenda. They have no idea who we are, and they truly do not give a damn.